This is what's driving the demand for pilots. Here's the Boeing forecast for 20 years, from 22,510 planes to 45,240, nearly doubling the fleet. That requires lots of pilots. So the forecast by Boeing for the next 20 years is 617,000 pilots required. On the other hand, Boeing is also, they don't mention drones in their forecast. They do a 20-year forecast every year. Boeing is also doing research on teaching robots how to land airplanes. We don't know when there will ever be one pilot planes or no pilots on the plane. There's a lot of conjecture out there how soon it would be before FedEx or UPS, the freight carriers, don't have pilots in the cockpit because of drones. Pros and cons, risk, reward. The good news is thousands of pilots are retiring. We'll show you some numbers later on. The airlines have reached their limit as far as negotiating more flight time. When times were hard, there was a glut of pilots. They managed to ratchet up the number of hours pilots had to work, which reduced the demand for the pilots they had. So here's the legacy airlines, American, Delta, United. Those are the retirement numbers by 5-year periods, more than 10,000, more than 12,000 between 2023 and 2028, and almost 9,000 the next 5-year period. Here's the career earnings. For a pilot at age 30 who works until age 65, our financial planning division does projections on career earnings. And those are the numbers as of today. You notice composite regional airlines earnings, that's actually gone up. We haven't adjusted for that. It was at 2.5 million. It's closer to 4 million now with the new pay scales in place at the regional airlines. The regional airlines have had a really difficult time finding pilots, and they're ratcheting up the pay and the benefits to attract more people to that sector. This does not include the retirement benefits. Most of these airlines will put money into your defined contribution plans. Some are called 401ks. And when you finish a 35-year career in today's dollars, at most of these airlines, you'll have more than $2 million in your retirement plan.
All right, how's everybody doing today? Very good. My name is Lynette Darnell. I'm with Piedmont Airlines. I am the cadet program manager for the company. My job is to work with different universities and flight schools and develop relationships and mentor students and get them on the right track, right? Until they come fly for us and eventually American Airlines. This is an overview of the cadet program. Again, it's targeted for certified flight instructors at partner schools. You can interview anytime after 400 hours. And we start paying you after 500. These are some of our partner schools. Like I mentioned before, we have 23 partner schools here in Colorado. We partner with McAir Aviation. They are wonderful. They have been a great partner school for us right now. We've had multiple cadets from there, and we look forward to having many, many more to come. How we pay our CFIs is it's a total compensation of $16,200. And what we do is we take $5,000 and we pay it out to you as a CFI. So we divide it into equal payments. And as you can see here, there's going to be different requirements, right? Depending on where you go to school, you might have a restricted ATP. So that means you may need less hours to come fly for us at a commercial airline. And based on how many hours you have to build and how many hours you have when you start the program, we'll divide that into equal payments and give you a check every time you bill 100 hours. There's an overview of how we pay it out. Then your first week, as a first officer, once you transition, we'll give you $1,200, and within that first month of employment, we'll pay you out the next $10,000. One of the advantages about the cadet program, and I've been running the program and managing the program for a little bit over a year, is as a student, we get to know you. We get to build a relationship with you. We get to mentor you. You get the opportunity to shine in a whole different way that a normal first officer would never get the opportunity to. Right now, just a month ago, our president had lunch with all our cadets. He sat down with them individually, got their names, talked about their family. Our first officers, when they saw the picture, they were like, really? When are we going to get that? So it's really nice. We invite you out to different events. We, like in August, we're taking all our cadets to the C.R. Smith Museum, and we'll have a tour of the American Airlines facility. They'll get to get on the simulators and do all kinds of fun stuff. We make them feel part of the family. That's the whole point. All right. I think once you get ready to transition to first officer, this is what happens. We actually start the background check. We do a drug test, of course, start all the paperwork, and we are going to schedule you for ATP, CTP training, and then we give you a class date. So that's basically it.
Yep. All right, I'm going to go into, we talked about once you reach the airline level and when you're ready for all of that. But I'm ready to talk about, what's going to happen right now. Raise your hand if you are in middle school. 1, 2, okay, high school? Wow, lots of high school students. And then college. Any college? Okay, awesome. So there are many, many, many different ways to get your flight hours, right? The ATP minimum, so airline transport pilot minimums, are 1,500 hours in order to be considered for your first real airline interview, unless you choose to take the route of going to what's called a 141 school. So those 141 schools are the big ones like Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, that's where I went, the University of North Dakota, what's another one? Mac-Air.
Inter-American University of Puerto Rico, Delaware State.
They're everywhere.
Liberty.
Yep. So I always like to tell these families when I get the chance to talk to them that this stuff is really, really expensive, right? Everybody has their own path. Everybody has their own journey. You want to choose the path that is right for you. Since there is a real pilot shortage, Lewis talked about it in the beginning, regional airlines that have direct paths into the majors are no longer requiring a 4-year college degree. So if you're really ambitious, if you really know that this is exactly what you want to do, we need pilots. So there is an option of going to certain schools like ATP Flight School, right? You can get all of your ratings from 0 to commercial pilot in about 6 months to a year for $60,000 to $70,000. You can get all those ratings right out of high school once you get your high school diploma. And that is an option, but you can also choose if you know that you're a competitive student and you're going to get a bunch of scholarships. You can also choose to go to one of those big 141 schools, or once you get those flight ratings, you can do things like banner towing, aerial survey, which is you're flying around for companies that are taking aerial survey pictures of landscapes and things like that, and then you can even go to Alaska to do some bush pilot flying. So you can really mix up your experience to get those flight hours.
Now, we don't discourage education, of course. And you could always become a certified flight instructor, which the schools really, really need. And it builds a very good skill set for your eventually career as a pilot.
Yep, so I heard the question earlier about, I think it was aviation business or aviation management degree versus aeronautical science professional flight degree, right? In my personal opinion, I think that the aviation business/management degree is going to open up a lot of doors if you choose the college route for you to do some internships. So I chose the Bachelor of Science in Aeronautics, and I did a triple minor in Business, Safety, and Security to get as much information as I could about the industry because I knew I wanted to go into recruiting, right? I fly at the little level. I'm not flying for the airlines right now. I'm just full-time recruiting. And in doing that, I scored 2 internships at United Airlines in Chicago at their headquarters. I think internships are one of the great ways to start building up your resume. And that's the thing, when you guys start getting into Even at the high school level, you want to find somebody like your college or high school guidance counselor to start building your resume as soon as heavenly possible. So that is going to not only make you more competitive for internships, but it's also going to make you desirable for scholarships. Now, FAPA.aero, where we're at right now, so FAPA.aero is a website where they have over 500 aviation scholarships available. There is a ton of money, and a fun fact is a lot of this money, I'd say 15 to 20% of these scholarships per year go unclaimed because people just don't know about them. So I'm a pretty unique case. When I went to Embry-Riddle, I transferred in with an associate's degree, so I did like liberal arts to get those core classes out of the way, and I came in as a junior, so I only had 2 years left at Embry-Riddle. However, Embry-Riddle is over $50,000 per year to go to, right? And my family owns a small business, so they could not help me with college, it was challenging in the beginning, and I was motivated a little bit by fear, but I chose to build that resume to get involved at school. I joined a bunch of clubs, started traveling, I started recruiting for the college for free just to get the experience, and the next thing I knew, I started getting a $5,000 scholarship here, a $10,000 scholarship there. I was invited to more conferences, and I actually met my boss, who I currently am working for, at one of the networking events because it opened up doors for me. So I owed, say, $110,000, $107,000 out of pocket for those 2 years at Embry-Riddle to get this Bachelor of Science in Aeronautics. And within those 2 years, because I got involved and built the resume, I got $110,000 in external scholarships. So websites like FAPA.aero, and there's NBAA, the National Business Aviation Association. There's Women in Aviation. There's Organization of Black Aerospace Professionals, which is they go by OBAP. There is a ton of money out there if you want to go the university route and get that funding. Plus, everybody's entitled to a $5,200 Pell Grant. Based on your family earnings and income, you can get up to $5,200 in federal grant money that you will never have to pay back.